Hey, welcome back to another episode for Life of Living Well. My name is Richard. Before I dive into the topic I have this week, let's quickly look into what we have on the list. If you'd like to know one or two things about this community, Life of Living Well, you can always check it out on our website at www.lifeoflivingwell.com. If you also like to sign up for weekly article that we release, you can just drop your email on the website, sign up for weekly news article, and you will be the first that come to your mailbox. So let's dive in without taking much of our time. So this week, the topic I'm looking at is what we call why contentment brings peace. As we normally do, if you've been following this podcast, we normally use one inspirational word of an individual and then we tend to build around it. And if you join us for the first time or listen to this podcast or watching it on the YouTube, we also say that we open this message with one inspirational word and then we build around it. So once again, the title that I'll be looking at this week is what I call Why Contentment Brings Peace. So I'm taking from Benjamin Franklin, and he put it this way. Contentment makes poor men rich. Discontentment makes rich men poor. It's very powerful word. And it takes a few minutes if you reflect on it and you ask yourself, how can a poor man just have a contentment become rich? And how can a rich person, because of discontentment, they can easily become poor? We've seen people that already have load of money in their bank account, they're already in a club of millionaires, but they were so impatient to join the club of billionaire. So they take a shortcut. And the shortcut by selling inside information to their friends so that they can acquire wealth quickly. And we know what happened to them when they find and caught. They're publicly shamed, and they also lost everything they already had at the time. So what is contentment? That is the question that I asked when I was putting this together. So it's the question that I'm asking you as you listen to this message, that what is contentment? I might not answer it to you, but if you listen to it and you have a time to take a time to ask those questions by yourself, you will understand what is contentment means to you personally and what it actually means in overall when we say being content. So we don't often hear about it, nor do we seek to cultivate it in our approach to life. And the question is, why is that? Why is something that we don't talk about it? We don't share it with our children or our friends or with our colleagues or with our family. Although it might be considered a quieted emotion compared to joy, happiness, or pride. But feeling content has significant benefit for well-being. How? Another question. How being content could actually improve your mental well-being or physical well-being or your emotional well-being. And in today's world, the common belief leans toward accumulating wealth and keeping up with the lifestyles of neighbors and celebrities. But is this practical or realistic in the short time and the long time? What are the impacts of living fake have in your psyche, in your well-being? And what cost are you prepared to pay for it? Are you prepared to not having the connection with the most important thing in your life. It depends what you define what is more important to you. If you say family is more important to you, and you ask yourself, how much of your time do you really create and give to your family to spend time with them? You don't have that. Do you really know how much you need? What is enough for you? What are you willing to pay in order to have more? Are you willing to sacrifice your health in for the future where you don't really enjoy all the hard work that you put into places now? So the question is, at what cost? Often we only realize too late the cost of trying to emulate others and projecting a lifestyle just to be accepted by others. So the question here is, we do a lot of things that we didn't even think why we are doing it. We are doing it because we see others are doing it, and we begin to do it. You see, people try to emulate everyone around them without really asking themselves why they're doing it. So how often do we take time to count our blessing? How often? One of the things the financial advisor will tell you is to put your network together. At least try and update it 2 or 3 times a year. The purpose of these things also is to let you see where you are currently financially. In your mind, you might think you are ahead of everybody, or you might be feeling that you don't have enough. But when you put your network together in a spreadsheet, it's so obvious and glaring to you. Realize that, oh my God, I'm doing really well. Oh my God, I have a lot to do. It depends the reality on the spreadsheet at that time. But the question is, how often do we take time to count our blessings? In areas like business, career, health, family, and friendship. How often would you say you count your blessing? A relative once told me he has slowed down in his pursuit of wealth. So I asked, what brought him to that conclusion? So when I asked why, he said he feared he was sacrificing too much of what mattered to him. And what mattered to him is his young family. And upon checking his finances, he realized he already had enough. Yet he had been stuck in a cycle of constant pursuit to the point where he functioned like a robot. And the answer is, we are not robots. We shouldn't live on autopilot. If people are buying a house and renting a house, you must do it. The question is why you're doing it. Are you okay that they will call you at 1 o'clock in the morning that the roof in the property is not fixed? Is there any other thing that you could do to generate income for you without taking a lot of your time on it? You might actually like property. It might be your friend that influences you, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just be sure that you are not just following because everybody is doing it. Our minds are vulnerable to influence, and we can easily be led down a path that ends in burnout. So many people have worked tirelessly to build wealth only to find that a lack of contentment led them into ruin or, in some cases, even prison. So the same applies to relationships. So when we take someone for granted, we risk eroding respect and gratitude. Knowing what is enough and finding peace within ourselves without external validation is actually essential to develop contentment. As we bring this podcast to the end, finally, contentment is a gentle, positive emotion that encourages self-acceptance, something many lack, leading to issues like addiction, low self-esteem, and social or mental unrest. Discontent can contribute to society malaise. Embracing contentment doesn't mean giving up ambition or societal progress. Rather, it can enhance inner peace and self-acceptance, fostering a healthier state of well-being. It's not something we talk about, and it's not something you taught at home or at school, but it's something valuable in our life as we're growing, like same as happiness, joy, calm, and peace. Contentment is something that comes from the place where you are looking in yourself and you know what is enough. If you have it clear why you do what you're doing, you'll be motivated to do it. And being content is not an excuse to change your life for good, even though it requires sweat to make it happen. It's quite different for someone that always worry, anxious, despite the reality that they have enough. Is to embrace gratitude to your life and count what you already have in your life, not what you may have in your life. Thank you for your time. Thank you for following this podcast, and thank you for your support for Life for Living Well. Please share this podcast to friends and family if you think this message helps someone. Until we meet again, my name is Richard, and please have an amazing and wonderful week. Ciao.